Welcome to 2026, a year when more of us than ever are choosing or finding ourselves living alone. But what if I told you that being alone isn't a challenge to endure? It's one of the most powerful paths to true happiness and strength. Today we're exploring exactly why being alone is so powerful, drawing on ancient Buddhist teachings that are more relevant now than ever. Buddha himself found enlightenment in solitude, and his wisdom shows us how to turn quiet moments into profound self-discovery, inner peace, and unbreakable resilience. In this video, you'll learn how to embrace solitude without loneliness, practice mindfulness to find joy in the present, accept life's impermanence with grace, and build a life of deep fulfillment, all on your own terms. If you're ready to discover the hidden power of being alone, stay with me. And if this resonates, please like and subscribe. It really helps spread these timeless teachings further. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Embracing the challenge. In the breathless pace of 2026, we often flee from the silence of an empty room as if it were a predator. We fill our ears with digital noise and our schedules with hollow obligations to avoid the one person we are most afraid to meet, ourselves. Yet the very silence we dread is not a void to be feared, but a vast and fertile ground for a more colorful life. The Buddha taught that our suffering arises when we are unable to find balance, swinging constantly between the craving for company and the fear of being forgotten. He reminds us that true peace does not come from changing our surroundings, but from changing how we respond to the quiet. By stepping into the stillness of living alone, we are not retreating from life. We are finally beginning the special journey of listening to our own hearts. Imagine your mind is like a vessel of water that has been shaken for years, clouded by the silt and sand of other people's expectations. When you choose to sit in solitude, you are simply setting the vessel down. You do not need to force the water to be clear. You only need to give it the stillness required for the sediment to settle to the bottom, revealing the natural clarity that was always there. Take a moment to reflect on your own daily life. How much of your vital energy is spent performing for an audience or adjusting your light to fit into someone else's shadow? Ask yourself what remains of your identity when there is no one around to define you. To begin this transformation, try the practice of setting a small goal for your alone time today. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you feel the itch of boredom, sit by a window and watch the world for 10 minutes without judgment. Observe your thoughts as if they were passing clouds in a wide sky, acknowledging their presence, but choosing not to hold on to them. There is a story of a young monk who was tasked with sitting alone in a forest for 40 days. At first, he complained to his teacher that the woods were too loud with the sounds of insects and the wind. The teacher smiled and told him that the forest was not loud. It was his resistance to the silence that was making the noise. When the monk finally stopped fighting the environment and embraced the challenge, he found that the forest was actually a symphony of peace. By embracing this initial challenge, you begin to build a strong foundation of self-awareness and self-love. You discover an inner strength that allows you to feel steady and calm, regardless of how the world shifts around you. This is the beginning of a profound journey where you become your own best friend and find a deeper happiness that no one can take away. Do not be afraid of the quiet room, for it is the only place where you can hear the song of your own soul. Lesson 2. Confronting loneliness. We often find ourselves surrounded by digital voices, yet paralyzed by a hollow ache in our chests. We mistake physical isolation for a personal failure, running from the silence because we fear it will confirm that we are truly unwanted. The Buddha taught that all things, including the heaviest of our emotions, are subject to change. He invited us to look at loneliness not as a predator to flee from, but as a shared human experience that can actually bring us closer to the heart of the world. By applying the concept of impermanence, we see that loneliness is not a permanent state of being, but a passing condition that allows us to understand our deep, natural longing for connection. Consider your feelings of loneliness as heavy clouds moving across a vast open sky. While the clouds may temporarily darken the landscape and hide the sun, they do not become the sky itself. If you do not reach out to grab them or try to push them away, they will eventually drift past, leaving the wide blue expanse of your inner peace untouched. Take a moment to reflect on the nature of your own quiet hours. Ask yourself if you are truly suffering from a lack of people, or if you are simply uncomfortable with the presence of your own soul. To transform this feeling into a source of strength, you might try a simple practice called loving kindness meditation. Spend a few minutes each morning sending a wish of peace first to yourself and then to all the other people in the world who are feeling exactly as you do in this moment. This small act reminds you that your loneliness is actually a bridge to others, proving that you are never truly isolated in your experience. There is an old story of a monk who lived in a remote cave and was asked by a traveler if he ever felt the bite of solitude. The monk simply pointed to the horizon and noted that the mountain does not feel lonely because it is part of the earth, just as his silence was part of the universe. Like the Buddha, who found his deepest understanding while entirely alone, the monk realized that facing the void is the only way to find what is truly whole. When you learn to sit with your loneliness without judgment, it ceases to be a painful burden and becomes a valuable guide. You begin to discover a unique sense of peace that only exists in the quiet, building a foundation of resilience and self-awareness that enriches every other part of your life. Walk gently into your solitude, knowing that the peace you seek is already waiting for you in the stillness. Lesson 3, the art of self-sufficiency. We often find ourselves tethered to 1,000 invisible strings of dependency, feeling helpless when the external systems we rely on begin to fray. We have been taught that being alone is a deficit, yet the true adventure begins when we realize that the power to sustain our own joy has always lived within our own hands. The Buddha spoke often of the middle way, a path of balance where we neither hide from the world nor become lost in our cravings for others to save us. This ancient wisdom teaches us that self-sufficiency is a form of spiritual practice, where managing our daily chores and finances with a kind and fair mind becomes a foundation for a stable heart. Consider the life of a sturdy bamboo tree, which stands tall and independent in the forest. While its roots are its own, it does not live in isolation. It simply knows how to bend with the wind and draw its own water, remaining upright because it is hollow and flexible enough to contain its own peace. Take a moment to reflect on your own relationship with your daily life. How much of your vital energy goes into waiting for someone else to provide the comfort, the excitement, or the validation you crave? Ask yourself what it would feel like to be the primary source of your own nourishment. To cultivate this art, try the practice of mindful self-care by turning a simple task, like preparing a meal, into a moving meditation. Instead of rushing to satisfy hunger, choose your ingredients with gratitude and cook with full presence, acknowledging each movement as an act of nurturing your own existence. There is a story of a traveling monk who carried only a single bowl and was once mocked for having no servants to tend to his needs. The monk smiled and replied that he was the most served man in the kingdom, because his hands were always ready to help him, and his mind was a servant that never left his side. When you master the art of self-sufficiency, you stop being a passenger in your own life and become the captain of your own ship. This journey leads to a profound sense of empowerment and freedom, allowing you to walk through the world with a heart that is full, resilient, and deeply connected to its own strength. Trust in your ability to build a home within yourself, for that is the only sanctuary that can never be taken away. Lesson 4, discovering inner peace. We often hunt for peace as if it were a distant destination, believing that if we could only change our city, our job, or our circle of friends, we would finally feel at rest. Yet the world will always be loud, and the true sanctuary is not found by escaping the noise, but by transforming the quiet moments of our solitude into a sacred space. The Buddha taught that peace is not the absence of external conflict, but a quality of how we respond to the world around us. Meditation, a cornerstone of his wisdom, invites us to sit with our own minds and observe the rising and falling of our thoughts without the need to solve or judge them. When we live alone, we have the rare opportunity to practice this mindfulness in every action, turning the simple act of breathing into a tranquil break from the demands of the ego. Imagine your mind as a still pond, and your thoughts are stones being thrown into the water. In the busy world, the surface is constantly shattered by ripples, but in the silence of your own company, you can choose to stop throwing the stones. As the water becomes still, the mud settles, and for the first time, you can see clearly all the way to the bottom. Take a moment to reflect on your own inner landscape. How much of your vital energy goes into worrying about the opinions of others or trying to control things that are beyond your reach? Ask yourself what it would feel like to let go of the need for outside approval and simply be content with who you are in the dark. To cultivate this stillness, you might designate a quiet spot in your home as a dedicated space for reflection and relaxation. Spend 10 minutes each morning sitting in this space, focusing entirely on the present moment as you breathe, allowing your home to become a reflection of the organized calm you are building inside. There is a story of a monk who was approached by a man who wished to find a place where no one could bother him. The monk told the man that even in the deepest cave, he would still be bothered by his own mind until he learned to make peace with it. Like the Buddha, who found enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree, the monk understood that the only true path to serenity is to stop running and start looking within. When you commit to discovering inner peace while living alone, you develop a sense of stability that life's inevitable changes cannot shake. You find a deep sense of fulfillment in your own choices and a clarity that allows you to live authentically, regardless of the circumstances outside your door. Trust that the stillness you cultivate today is the foundation for a life lived with grace and profound joy. Lesson 5. Growth through adaptation. Many of us cling to our habits and routines like anchors, terrified that any change in our living situation or social circle will leave us adrift. We view the necessity of adjusting to a solitary life as a burden to be endured rather than a skill to be mastered, forgetting that the most vibrant lives are those that know how to transform with the seasons. The Buddha taught that the nature of all existence is change, a concept known as impermanence. This wisdom suggests that our suffering does not come from the changes themselves, but from our resistance to them. By learning to adapt to living alone, we are practicing a profound spiritual flexibility that allows us to find peace even when life takes an unexpected turn. Imagine yourself as a slender tree standing in a powerful gale. While the rigid oak may snap under the pressure of the storm, the flexible bamboo survives because it has learned the art of bending. In your solitude, you are learning to be like that bamboo, yielding to the new realities of your life without losing your roots or your balance. Take a moment to reflect on your current journey. How much of your vital energy is spent mourning the way things used to be or wishing for a future that has not yet arrived? Ask yourself what strength you might discover if you stopped waiting for the storm to pass and instead learned how to dance in the rain. To cultivate this resilience, try the practice of trying one new skill or hobby each week that requires you to step outside your comfort zone. Whether it is learning to fix something in your home or exploring a new creative outlet, each act of learning proves to yourself that you are capable of growing stronger through the very challenges you once feared. There is a story of an aging monk who was forced to move from his beloved monastery to a small, isolated hut on a distant hill. When his students came to visit and asked if he was sad to be alone in such a simple place, he told them that he had not lost a home, but had gained the entire sky as his roof. Like the Buddha, who found his greatest insights during times of profound transition, the monk understood that every new environment is simply a fresh opportunity for the soul to expand. By choosing to grow through adaptation, you transform the challenges of living alone into a powerful engine for personal evolution. You begin to realize that you possess an inner strength that is not dependent on external circumstances, leading to a life of deep resilience and lasting joy. Embrace the changing tides of your life, for it is in the act of adjusting your sails that you discover your true power as a navigator. Lesson 6. Nurturing social connections. We often fall into the trap of believing that living alone means cutting ourselves off from the world, as if physical walls must also be walls around the heart. We fear that by choosing solitude, we will become invisible or forgotten, losing the vital threads that tie us to the human family. Yet living on our own actually offers a unique opportunity to stop merely maintaining connections and start making them truly meaningful. The Buddha emphasized the importance of a sangha, or a community of like-minded individuals who support each other on the path to growth. This ancient wisdom suggests that even when we live alone, we are never truly separate from the whole, as we remain part of a larger community of life. By nurturing social connections from a place of personal strength, we engage with others not out of a desperate need to escape ourselves, but out of a genuine appreciation for the joy of friendship. Imagine a constellation of stars in the night sky. Each star is a distinct, solitary point of light, separated by vast distances of silence. Yet it is their shared presence that forms a beautiful and recognizable pattern. In your solitude, you are like one of those stars. You do not need to touch every other light to be part of the same sky, but your individual brilliance is what allows the constellation to exist. Take a moment to reflect on the quality of your current relationships. How much of your energy goes into shallow interactions simply to avoid being alone, rather than cultivating deep, supportive bonds? Ask yourself if you are listening to your friends with your whole heart, or if you are merely waiting for your turn to speak to fill the silence. To strengthen these ties, try the practice of active listening or volunteering for a cause you care about. When you engage in activities that align with your true interests, whether a local group or an online community, you meet people who share your passions, making it easier to forge authentic connections that provide a real sense of belonging. There is a story of a monk who spent years in a solitary hermitage, but was known as the most beloved man in the nearby village. When asked how he stayed so connected while living so far away, he explained that because he was at peace with his own silence, he could truly hear the needs of others when they visited him. Like the Buddha, who cherished both the quiet of the forest and the community of his followers, the monk knew that a heart that is happy alone is a heart that has the most room to love others. By nurturing your social connections while living alone, you discover that independence does not mean isolation. You find a healthy balance between your private sanctuary and the outside world, leading to a richer, more diverse life where your friendships are based on quality and mutual appreciation rather than a fear of being by yourself. Keep your heart open to the world, for every hand you reach out to take is a reminder that even in your independence, you are beautifully connected to the love around you. Lesson 7. Embracing personal freedom. Many of us feel like characters in a play written by someone else, performing roles and following schedules that do not belong to us. We often mistake the absence of others for a lack of purpose, when in reality, living alone is the moment the theater goes dark and we are finally allowed to step off the stage. This is the beginning of a unique journey where you hold the keys to your own world, free to make choices that align with your true self. The Buddha taught that our greatest shackles are the cravings and opinions of others that we allow to dictate our lives. By practicing detachment from external expectations, we find the middle way where we can exist authentically without being swayed by the noise of the world. In Buddhist wisdom, this autonomy is not about selfishness, but about clearing away the influence of others so we can truly know ourselves and live according to our own principles. Imagine you have been holding a burning rope for a very long time, believing that if you let go, you will be lost in the dark. Living alone is the act of finally opening your hand. As the rope falls away, you realize that the pain you felt was not from the dark, but from the effort of holding on to something that was never yours to begin with. Take a moment to reflect on your daily rhythm. How much of your energy goes into maintaining an image or following a schedule designed by someone else? Ask yourself what you would choose to do today if there was no one left to please and no one watching to judge. To embrace this power, try the practice of setting your own schedule for a single day, purely based on your own preferences and pace. Whether it is deciding what to eat, when to wake, or which personal goal to pursue, notice the quiet confidence that grows when you realize you are the sole architect of your time. There is a story of a monk who lived in a small hut and was asked by a king why he did not seek the riches and influence of the palace. The monk replied that the king was only a master of his kingdom, while the monk was the master of his own mind in every hour of his day. Like the Buddha, who left a palace to find a richer life in the forest, the monk understood that true royalty is the freedom to chase your own dreams at your own pace. By embracing personal freedom, you transform your home into a cozy sanctuary that is a direct reflection of who you are. You discover that being alone is not a restriction, but a profound empowerment that allows you to explore your values and create a life that brings you genuine happiness. Step boldly into your own space, for it is only when you are free from the shadows of others that you can finally see the light of your own soul. Lesson 8. Cultivating contentment. We often live as if our happiness is a horizon we can never quite reach, always believing that the next purchase, the next achievement, or the next person will finally make us whole. We treat our present lives like waiting rooms for a future that never arrives, missing the profound beauty that exists in the here and now. Yet living alone offers a unique opportunity to realize that true satisfaction is not a trophy to be won, but a quiet state of being that is already within our reach. The Buddha taught that our suffering is rooted in a constant craving for things to be different than they are. He invited us to practice gratitude as a way to recognize the everyday blessings that are already present in our lives, from the first sip of morning coffee to the glow of a sunset. By simplifying our lives and letting go of unnecessary stress, we align ourselves with the Buddhist path of finding joy in the simple things rather than chasing external possessions or achievements. Imagine your life is like a jar that is slightly cracked, and you are constantly trying to fill it with water from the outside to keep it full. No matter how much you pour in, the water eventually leaks out, leaving you thirsty again. Contentment is the act of healing the cracks from the inside. Once the jar is whole, even a few drops of water are enough to keep it full, and you no longer need to spend your life searching for a fountain. Take a moment to reflect on your current environment. How much of your energy goes into chasing future aspirations or comparing your life to the curated images of others? Ask yourself what it would feel like to be completely satisfied with exactly what you have in this room, in this very moment. To cultivate this sense of fulfillment, try the practice of daily gratitude by identifying 3 small things you are thankful for each evening. Whether it is a warm meal, a comfortable chair, or the quiet of your home, acknowledging these blessings fosters a sense of inner peace and teaches you that happiness does not always come from external sources. There is a story of a monk who owned nothing but a single robe and a bowl, yet he was known to be the happiest man in the village. When a wealthy merchant asked him how he could be so joyful with so little, the monk replied that while the merchant was busy guarding what he had and worrying about what he lacked, the monk was busy enjoying the sunlight and the air. Like the Buddha, who found profound satisfaction in the present moment, the monk understood that contentment is a daily practice of appreciating the beauty of one's own existence. By focusing on contentment while living alone, you enhance your daily life with a sense of pride and satisfaction that is entirely your own. You develop a positive outlook that allows you to face challenges with kindness and patience, ultimately leading to a more joyful and fulfilling existence that does not depend on anyone else to sustain it. Appreciate the simple treasures of your solitary life, for it is in the quietest moments that the loudest joys are often found. Lesson 9: Spiritual Exploration and Enlightenment. We often live on the surface of our own lives, distracted by the constant flicker of screens and the demands of a material world. We treat our deeper questions about existence like background noise, burying them under busyness because we fear that looking inward might reveal an emptiness we cannot fill. Yet the quiet of living alone is not an empty void. It is a sacred space that offers us the rare freedom to ponder our connection to the vast universe. The Buddha taught that we are all deeply interconnected, even when we are physically apart from one another. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, we can clear our minds and gain new insights that go beyond our daily worries. This spiritual exploration allows us to find meaning in the quiet and connect with something much larger than ourselves, turning our solitary time into a path toward enlightenment and inner tranquility. Imagine your soul is like a candle flame burning in a drafty, crowded room. It flickers and struggles to stay lit amidst the constant movement of others. Living alone is like placing a clear glass chimney over that flame. The glass does not hide the light from the world, but it provides the stillness needed for the flame to grow steady, bright, and tall, finally illuminating the corners of the room you never noticed before. Take a moment to reflect on your own spiritual journey. How much of your vital energy is spent seeking answers from the outside world, rather than listening to the wisdom that resides in your own heart? Ask yourself what you truly believe about your place in this world when the influence of others is finally stripped away. To deepen this connection, try creating a dedicated space in your home for contemplation or quiet reflection. Spend a few minutes each day in this sanctuary, perhaps reading inspiring literature or simply sitting in silence, allowing yourself to feel more in tune with the world and the nature that surrounds you. There is a story of a monk who spent his life in a mountain cave and was asked by a scholar how he could learn the truths of the world without any books. The monk simply held up a leaf and explained that by watching it grow and fall in total silence, he understood the birth, life, and death of all things. Like the Buddha, who found deep understanding while sitting alone beneath the Bodhi tree, the monk realized that nature and silence are the most profound teachers we will ever have. By choosing to explore your spirituality while living alone, you transform your solitary time into a meaningful adventure of self-understanding. You develop a positive mindset and a sense of compassion that enriches your life, allowing you to move through the world with a calm heart and a deeper sense of purpose. Trust the wisdom of the silence, for it is the bridge that carries you from who you are to the person you were always meant to become. Lesson 10. Achieving independence and empowerment. We frequently mistake our independence for a state of isolation, fearing that without a constant witness to our lives, our achievements do not truly count. We have been conditioned to look outward for a sense of safety, yet the most profound security is not found in the hands of others, but in the quiet realization that we are capable of providing for ourselves. The Buddha taught that we must be islands unto ourselves, a core philosophical concept that encourages us to find our own light rather than relying on the shadows of others. This wisdom reminds us that true empowerment comes from self-reliance and the understanding that our internal state does not have to be a reflection of external chaos. By taking responsibility for our own happiness and survival, we align ourselves with the Eightfold Path, practicing right action and right effort in the service of our own growth. Imagine you are a sailor who has finally learned to navigate a great ship alone across a vast ocean. For years, you relied on a crew to tell you when to turn and how to trim the sails. But now, you understand the language of the wind and the stars yourself. You are no longer at the mercy of the waves. You are the master of your own direction, moving with a confidence that can only be earned in the solitude of the open sea. Take a moment to reflect on your own progress during this journey. How much of your vital energy was once spent in fear of the unknown, and how much is now spent in the quiet satisfaction of solving your own problems? Ask yourself, when did I realize that I am stronger than I ever gave myself credit for? To solidify this sense of empowerment, try the practice of setting 3 specific personal priorities each morning that reflect your own values, independent of what the world expects from you. By choosing where to direct your focus and following through on those intentions, you reinforce the truth that you are the primary authority in your own life. There is a story of a monk who remained perfectly calm while being insulted by a group of travelers, never losing his smile or his inner grace. When they asked how he could be so unaffected, he explained that if someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, the gift remains with the giver. Like the Buddha, who stood unshaken by both praise and blame, the monk understood that his power came from within, and no external force could take away the peace he had built for himself. By achieving this level of independence, you unlock a life of profound fulfillment and resilience. You discover that living alone is not a hardship to be endured, but a grand adventure where you are free to craft a life of genuine contentment. The positive outcomes are a heart that is steady, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is truly free to thrive on its own terms. Walk forward with pride in your own strength, for you have become the sanctuary you once sought in the world outside. As we come to the end of this exploration into why being alone is so powerful in 2026, here's the key truth. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's your greatest source of strength, clarity, and joy. In a world that's louder and faster than ever, Buddha's ancient wisdom reminds us that true peace and growth bloom in quiet moments with ourselves. Thank you for watching. If this video inspired you, please like, comment your thoughts on solitude, and subscribe for more Buddhist teachings for modern life. Embrace your alone time. You're capable of more than you know. Namaste.